This is a slide share to clarify the unit project. This is for information purposes. While you're welcome to follow my template, I want to be clear that this is the template that works for me when I plan my ELL classes. You may use the planning template that is meaningful for you as long as you can ensure the components of the project are easily identifiable. The project rubric is found in your syllabus. So here are all the criteria that you'll see in a moment in my sample. Please note that for the sake of time, the sample I'm going to show you contains a sample unit plan, but only one of the 3 unit plans that you would need to provide. So let's start with how I've organized my unit plan. We've covered most of the details of the cover page in class numerous times. There are only a few things to draw your attention to in this slide share. This is a simple thing, but please be sure your name, course number, and date appear on each page of your project. My unit plan addresses each item required by the rubric. The content objectives and language objectives listed here comprise all of the objectives that will be addressed within the entire unit. The specific references that you see here, numerical for the content and alphabetical for the language, represent my ability to cross-reference those specific objectives within the actual lesson plan. I'll come back to that again in a moment. I just want you to be aware of the fact that in the unit plan, all of the language and content objectives are provided. Another component of the project is that you tie your unit aligned to Common Core state standards. Here you'll see my reference and additional references. I've ellipsed the standard notations for the purposes of this sample, but you would be required to provide the entire citation. So let's move on to the lesson plan. You'll notice that in my lesson plan, it specifies which plan within the entire unit we're looking at. I reiterate the specific objectives that pertain to this lesson. All of the activities are listed in this grid format. So this would be the first activity, the materials and supplies that would be required to complete that activity. Turning the page of the lesson, you would find the second activity within its own grid, the items needed, and again, moving on to the next activity, you would find it here. I find that having this table sequence really facilitates subs being able to stay in sequence and easily finding all the information about the activity. My checks for understanding are specific to this activity and help me remember to check for understanding and allow me to remediate on the spot, clarify, or keep the lesson moving forward. Simple rubrics are often based on the can-do descriptors or some of the other helps and tools that I've provided for you through WIDA, but allow me to see how performance of certain groups of students overall in the class are manifesting. You'll also notice that within my lesson plan for specific activities, I've provided differentiated lessons. So for this activity, the simple past and reading, there's an opportunity to modify the instruction for those students who need it. Similarly, in my review, I've modified the review to cover proficiencies for Tier A, B, and C students. One last point to make about the lesson plan is that I've also referenced where the objective falls within what activity. So here's another objective. All of the materials that I've highlighted in my lesson are either scanned, photographed, but somehow built into the end of my lesson plan materials. So all of the things that you see here would be specific to the lesson plan I just showed you. This would be an item that I would project on screen for discussion. This would represent the newspaper article that students that will be reading, looking for past tense verbs. This represents a worksheet that students would be completing. And it's also important to provide an exemplar of any worksheets that you have created in order to help subs make sure that they are well prepared for your class. Other materials that might need to be photocopied or reproduced should also be included. So for example, my exit ticket is a reproducible that could then be cut so that each student receives one particular portion. When you're ready to submit your lesson plan and unit plan, everything should be submitted, or can be submitted as a Word document. So what you see here on my computer screen is how that might look in your world. You can submit it to me as an attachment to an email. You should also submit one hard copy to me. That's just in case there's any problems opening the file that you send. I will be working with the UMKC campus rep later this week to obtain instructions about uploading to live text, as the protocols for that have changed since the syllabus was created. I hope to provide these details Tuesday night in class. Thanks for watching.